Southern Cross, a new city that is thriving in this post-apocalyptic era. This functioning city holds water and is one of the last places on Earth with growing grass. Southern Cross is more than just a city, it's an empire. Like all cities, it has its people. These people work daily in order to keep the city going. Southern Cross was created by a man that calls himself King. King, the male ruler of an independent state, especially one who inherits the position by right of birth. Not all kings rule by birthright. Some men obtain the title and position of king by simply being superior to others. In this case, the king I am referring to rules due to being superior to his entire empire in terms of power. I'm talking about physical might, my guy. All kings have subjects, and these servants are some of the most petty, despicable, evil human beings to walk this earth. In this video, we will be focusing on Kingsmen and their very much well-deserved, terrible, terrible deaths. If you live in a shitty neighborhood, there are certain things you just don't do. Walking around these streets with a brand new game console in hand out in the open, best believe someone's gonna run up on you. Walking around with small grains of rice in a sack? Oh, your ass is definitely getting jumped for that. That's exactly what happened to a poor old man that was trying to retrieve rice seeds for his starving village. Unfortunately, a goon known as Spade pulled up, and I'm not gonna lie, the man wanted rice. The old man stressed to Spade that he's been looking for these seeds for a week without eating. Knowing that this poor old man risked his life to find these seeds made Spade want to steal them even more. He just loves the suffering of other people. Definitely a prick. Fortunately, Kenshiro pulled up when all of this was going down. You already know how Ken gets down. Spade doesn't though. So he tries his luck by firing an arrow at Ken with his crossbow. Naturally, he misses, so Kenshiro tells him, "Shoot that shit at me again, and I'ma take your right eye if you miss." Surely enough, he shoots another arrow, only for Ken to deflect it back. The arrow hits his bullseye. In this case, Spade is the bull. There was no point in killing him. Ken made his point, right into his fucking pupil. Ken returns the old man back to his village with the rice seeds. The village is saved, and everybody lives happily ever after. Now, if you watched my Zed video, you'd remember how stupid they were. Apparently, stupidity is contagious in this verse, because the moment Spade treats his injury, he pulls up to the old man's village to exact revenge. Thus, Spade and his men began to slaughter the village people. You know what? I gotta give props to Kenshiro. He noticed Spade and his goons pass by him as they were pulling up, so my guy just sprints all the way back to the village in mere minutes. Unfortunately, he was too late. Kenshiro arrives right when Spade just beams a spear through the rice man's chest. At this point, he's just begging Ken with his dying breath to save the rice. At this point, Ken's mad. He powers up to the point that he destroys his shirt with his muscles alone. 7 scars exposed. He's decided that Spade won't live to see tomorrow. Now, Spade thought he was slick. He had 2 of his men restrain Ken's arms with the old ball and chain. While Ken was seemingly defenseless, Spade throws an axe towards this man. Ken kicks the axe, deflecting it towards one of his men, chopping their head off. At this point, the man holding the other chain should have just left, but it was too late. Ken uses the dead man's chain against his ally, wrapping it around his neck. Mans really thought they were about to play tug of war, but this isn't a fucking game. Ken just yanks his ass again and again until he was up close. Knife hand strikes his face, kills him. Spade lost his eye to this man. He just watched 2 of his men get killed with ease. What does he do? He runs up on Kenshiro. Ken isn't taking this man seriously anymore. He just bops him in the fucking nose and just leaves his man leaking. I don't know where this man is getting all this shit from, but somehow he just pulls out another axe. He has 2 axes now. He swings on Ken, misses and gets his arm caught. Ken just pops his elbows out through his arm, strikes his thumb into his temple. He hits his pressure points. Ken tells him, "When I remove my thumbs, you only have 3 seconds left to live. Repent in 3 seconds." Thumbs removed. Spade's running, he's crying, he's pissing, he's shitting, it doesn't matter. In 3 seconds, he's blown apart. Terrible death. Needless to say, King learns of Spade's death. King wants Ken to come to him, so for bait, he just grabs a random farmer and lynches him out in the open so Ken would just find him hanging there lifeless. There's a letter stabbed into the farmer's back, pretty much warning that if Ken doesn't turn himself in, they're going to keep hanging people. In a village nearby, there's an atrocity being carried out by Diamond. In the anime, Diamond and his man force a father to aim a bow and arrow at a can that is being balanced on top of his son's head. The father collapses, he can't do it, so Diamond asks one of his subordinates to help the man aim. Surely enough, he aims the arrow directly at the fucking kid and not the can. Luckily, Kenshiro catches the arrow, deflecting it back at the goon's arm. The man is in pain, crying and begging for his leader Diamond to help him. Diamond just grabs an iron staff and just smashes the goon's head in. Now the manga plays out a bit differently. Instead of the father having a son, he has a daughter. Instead of balancing a can on her head, she's carrying her father on her shoulders. If she gives into the weight and falls, the rope around his neck will lynch him. What the fuck is wrong with these bro? Next thing you know, a large rock flies directly into Diamond's mouth. This man bites down, crushing a rock with his teeth. I gotta stop and ask, but what the fuck? This dude can bite through rocks? Fucking Z can bite through cinder blocks? Do they just train their jaws or some shit? Like, how is this even happening? Anyway, now the father and daughter are saved. Diamond swings his staff towards Kenshiro. He misses, but that swing had enough force to smash through the bones of his subordinates. Obviously, Diamond isn't like Zed or Spade. He's a martial artist. He swings at Ken again, only for Ken to not only catch the staff, but lift it up with Diamond along with it, using only one hand. You already know what's about to happen next. Ken launches his bitch ass off the pole, leaps up into the air, striking his 2 pressure points in his neck and kneeing him in the face so hard it just splits apart. His brain just comes spilling out as he has no choice but to just fall and die. At this point, Kenshiro just wants smoke. He pulls up the Southern Cross and sneaks in after nightfall. Now, Club is a tall ass dude. He had long ass arms and limbs, long ass reach, large claws on each hand. These claws are long enough to tear through and hold up an entire human body, as he does. After he slaughters his first victim, his men brings in another. These men are just villagers, bro, just being killed one after another. They stand no chance. Now, this scene is a little bit more scary for the villagers in the anime because they're being led into a cage. Club tells this man, if you lay even a finger on me, I'll let you leave this city. Club dodges the man's feeble attacks only to stab him in the shoulder. With claws dug into his flesh, the man manages to touch Club, making him the winner of this game. Club cringes at the fact that this villager touched him. Disgusted, he just cuts his head in half. He fucking lied. Club is ready for his next victim. His men don't respond. They don't bring his next victim. They're just standing there doing absolutely nothing as Club repeatedly gives them orders to bring the next victim, but they just don't. Little did he know that his men were already dead. Ken pulls up. He wants to smoke. Club swings on Ken, only for Ken to stop the momentum of his attack by touching his fist. Off rip, Club's knuckles just blast out from his fingers. Ken jumps up, knees him in the face, flips over him, and then knees him in the back. Ken struck a pressure point that controls Club's muscles. He's forcing him to bend over backwards. He only has 5 minutes until his spine snaps in two. Ken tells Club that he'll let him live if he tells him the identity of King and where he can be found. Club informs him that King is located in his castle, where kings be. He doesn't know who King is, but he knows that King is a master of a mysterious martial art. So Club has told Kenshiro everything he knows in exchange for his life being spared. One problem. He fucking lied. Ken just lets him bend over backwards to the point that his spine snaps, his pelvic bone blasting out from his body as he lays there and dies. This guy got fucking executed. There's a bar in Southern Cross. There, remnants of Diamond and Club's gangs bully a bartender. One of them punch him in the face, causing him to knock and shatter some glass on the counter. That's when Hart pulls up, ordering them to stop. Look at the size of this man. He's an absolute unit. Believe it or not, Hart is actually a nice guy. He felt sorry for the bartender and offered to help him if he needed anything. Slapping his hand on the counter, Hart orders a drink. Unfortunately, the shattered glass on the counter leaves a tiny cut on the palm of his hand. Hart can't stand the sight of his own blood, so he goes berserk and just slaps the bartender so hard, he smashed his eyeballs out from his head. Now the goons in the bar are just scared for their lives. They try to knock his ass out by tossing their spiked clubs towards the unit. Hart is so fat. His stomach catches each and every one of their clubs, sucks them in, then blows them back out towards the goons. Most of them just get cracked in the skull with the clubs, just knocked the hell out, but one of them has a club pierced through his eye and come out through the back of his head. Hart's body is known for being immune to the martial arts. At this point, Kenshiro finds King's castle and confronts him. Hart blocks Ken's path with his stomach. He wants smoke, so Ken's ready to kill this man. He punches Hart, only for his fist to be absorbed and sucked into his fat fucking stomach. At this point, Ken can't move. He has no choice but to block whatever comes next, cause Hart just slaps the shit out of him. He left Ken dizzy on the floor, bleeding from his fucking head. The first opponent to actually deal out meaningful damage against Kenshiro in the entire series so far, from what we've seen. King grabs a feather and flings it towards Hart's face, leaving a small cut. After seeing his own blood, Hart goes berserk yet again. Unfortunately for Hart, Ken has just a technique for this specific situation. Ken just attacks his stomach with rapid kicks. These kicks were so fast, they were spreading his fat apart, exposing his pressure points so Ken can easily strike them. After that, Hart's stomach just reshapes and reforms back to his natural fat fucking form. That's when a hole is blown through his stomach from the inside of his body. Then his titties. After that, he just blows the fuck up. His insides just shooting out from his stomach. And after that, that's pretty much it. King's men, all fucking dead. Ken just killed each and every one of King's men in the most creative way possible. They each had unique deaths, tailor-made for them. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Join me next time when I discuss the martial art that rivals Hokuto Shinken, Nanto Seiken.